What's up? Hey, hello, everyone. Wow. So my name is Rachel, and I just messed up that intro. I was not thinking. Oh my gosh. So we are going to be talking about the challenge season 36 Double Agents episode 6. So my name is Rachel.
I'm Alyssa, and this episode, it was sure something. I feel like there were some really good things about this episode, but then some things about this episode where I was like, yikes, I could have done without seeing this. So, yeah, it was a
Yeah,
mixed bag for sure.
definitely mixed bag. I think compared to like last week's episode or even episode 4, this one was a little bit less exciting, I guess you might say. And some of the stuff was sort of confusing. So we start the episode off with Theresa in hot water for playing both sides, playing the rookies and also playing the vets. So people said that she's playing dirty. Like, I get it, but I feel like a big theme this episode is I also don't get it because we see so many people are mad at other people for like betraying them or backstabbing them or not telling them things. But I'm also like, yo, this is a game where it's for $1 million. You can't expect everyone to tell you the truth for the whole like X amount of days that you're there.
It also just seems like they're getting mad about stuff that they really shouldn't be getting mad about. Like getting mad at Teresa for playing with the rookie girls. Like it's just she chose to play with more people rather than just staying with the group of people she normally plays with. And I feel like if she had just stuck with her normal group, people would be like shitting on her. Like, oh, she's just playing the same game she normally does and she's playing it so safe. And it's like, I think one of the things that bothers me most in reality television is when people are hypocrites and it's like they get mad at someone else for doing something and then turn around and do the exact same thing. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, like, it's a numbers game. You can't just expect people to be solely rookies, solely vets. And, like, Teresa has taken a long hiatus from the show, and this is her first time back in a long time. So it's sort of like, how do you expect someone to, like, not branch out or not just work with the people that she maybe knew in the past, did seasons with before? Just seems sort of weird. I think some new information that we got. Apparently, Theresa was Anissa's number one, which I thought that was a little bit weird considering last week we were told, oh, Anissa and Tori are best friends. They're each other's number one. I feel like, I don't know, with Theresa and so much hot water this week and having so much power this week, I feel like maybe last week or at least building up to go into this episode, I would have wanted to see more of Theresa and Jay in previous episodes because I feel like we haven't really seen much of them besides like, oh, they play the middle and then now, oh, Theresa and Anissa are number ones. I was like, where did that come from?
Yeah, I feel like one of the things the challenge doesn't always do the best is foreshadowing. Like sometimes stuff happens and I'm like, oh, was I supposed to see this coming? So, yeah, I was also shocked that Teresa was Anissa's number one, or vice
Yeah.
versa, whichever way it went.
Yeah, and so we see Theresa and Lolo sort of get into a squabble at the beginning of this episode, which I was like, this is, I guess, a little bit uncomfortable. It was weird considering like Lolo technically isn't a vet, even though she was on like the challenge season champs versus pros before, but like that isn't like a mainstream challenge season. So it's like she doesn't have rookie or vet under her name. Her name literally, like her job name just says Olympian. So she's sort of in that like weird middle ground, but like they get in some weird squabble.
Yeah, I didn't really understand what they were fighting about. So, yeah, that was just. I feel like a lot of times with the challenge, I'm just like, am I supposed to understand why you're fighting right now? Or. So, yeah. Lolo is in a
Yeah.
weird space.
Yeah, I honestly didn't write that fight in my notes, so didn't even think to need it to put in my notes. So I guess that's how important it was in the grand scheme of things. Before we go to the daily challenge, also we see Leo talking a lot about his background, which was cool because I feel like ever since the first episode when we saw Leo showing off his WWE skills wrestling the first night, we haven't really seen much of him throughout the next 6 episodes, which sort of sucks. But he was talking about growing up in a group home, how waking up every day in the challenge house has been traumatizing for him. And so I really do wish, I guess would have seen more of Leo coming up to this point because I feel like we haven't seen much of him thus far.
Yeah, I feel like we really only saw him when it was like, oh, he's a big WWE star, and then, oh, he's leaving now. So I guess I wonder kind of if that's like his punishment for quitting, because I know that sometimes, like in Survivor at least, people who quit are maybe under edited because, like, you quit the game, you shouldn't have done that. It's like your punishment for quitting. But it also could just be that because he's a rookie, he like doesn't get that big of an edit, which I feel like is something we've been seeing with some of the rookies, but not all this season. So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess same thing goes for Gabby. We see Gabby and Leo talk. Honestly, when they were like crying together about Leo telling Gabby that he made the decision to leave and go home, I was sort of confused because I was like, wait, since when were they so close? And I didn't even realize that they were partners. So I was like, this is like a relationship out of left field. They're like BFFs, which we haven't ever seen, but they're partners. So I guess they became close through that.
Yeah, I feel like it's bad because since they're a rookie partnership, neither of them really gets screen time. Like, I feel like if there's like a rookie partnered with a vet, they get more screen time. And then obviously, two vets partnered together get a lot of screen time. So I feel like the one thing with the challenge is because there are still so many freaking people. I still don't know everybody's name.
Oh
So,
no. Yeah. Oh no. So Leo says he is deciding to go home for his mental health. And then we go to the daily challenge, and TJ does not call Leo a quitter. I feel like in the past, whenever people quit the challenge, TJ like goes super hard into them and like shames them and like says, you're probably not coming back to the show, whatnot. You're a quitter kind of thing. But TJ did not say that for Leo. TJ was supportive of Leo. Then we see a confessional from Cam saying that Cam is also supportive of Leo. And it seems like a lot of people like didn't know what was going on and like in Leo's background, and they were supportive of his choice to go home as well.
yeah, and I think that's a super important thing to be talking about, especially on reality television. Like, I think the more that we can talk about mental health, the better it is. And I think it's really good that Leo was able to have that kind of support, but then also kind of that even the people who didn't really know about his background were respecting his choice. Because I feel like sometimes when people talk about, like, oh, this situation was really triggering for me, it's expected that they like own up about like all their trauma, which isn't really like fun or fair. So I was just glad to see the way this was handled, and I hope that Leo's doing well.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was handled well, and it was good that it did get a segment on the television show rather than just like, oh, Leo disappeared, he chose to go home, and we actually got to hear some more of his story and learn more about him before he decided to go home. And yeah, I agree. I think it was good that it was on TV for mental health purposes, and I think it was good that like the challenge producers didn't force him to stay there. Like, no, you signed a contract, you're forced to be here, like you can't go home kind of thing. So it's good that everyone was supportive and like let him make the decision and let him go home.
Yeah, I think it would have been really crappy if they had been like, no, you have to stay. Just because, like, especially when your heart isn't in it, I feel like that kind of challenge is hard. And also, like, from a purely numbers standpoint, they were probably glad that it was a guy quitting and not another girl.
Yeah,
So,
even out the numbers now. Maybe they're like, oh, well, dang, we didn't need to bring Ashley back last episode because the numbers are becoming more even with another guy going home, like DQing, medevacing, leaving. So maybe that's a thing. But also, I feel like, I don't know. I think Leo, I would have loved to see him in elimination because I think he could have rocked it. I want to see those WWE skills.
I would have loved to see him in like a hall brawl type scenario just because he's a WWE wrestler. That's kind of like his thing. So,
Yeah, or if he went in that elimination that Joseph and Kyle went in, some kind of physical thing, like that would be so cool to see. Leo said on the YouTube challenge after show that he would want to come back in the future if he is invited. So I think it could be interesting if he does come back. I would love to see what kinds of skills that he has.
yeah, I also would love to see that. So, I hope that, like, if he ever is in a place where like mentally he feels ready to come back, that he'd be allowed to.
Yeah. So we see Leo leaves, and then Gabby and Devin now become partners because Gabby and Leo were partners. Devin was the rogue agent. Sort of funny because Devin wanted to be rogue, and then now his plans are a little bit foiled. And then I was thinking, maybe it could be either a male or a female elimination because another guy went home. So maybe they would skip and do another, I guess, do a guy's day or something. I don't know, since it technically was supposed to be a girl's day this week, since it was a guy's day last week. I don't know. I thought that the male elimination, female elimination thing was up in the air, but apparently everyone in the house didn't.
Yeah, I guess it's different because since they're now on even numbers, it's like it could be either, but I guess they were kind of just banking on the fact that even though it could be either, they would follow the previous pattern. And I think also if you're talking like skulls wise, it makes more sense for it to be a girls elimination. Otherwise, it would still be 4 guys have a skull and 1 girl does. Is that the numbers? So
or 3 guys. I think it's 3-1, and now or maybe.
But if they had done another guys elimination, it would have been. Yeah. So I guess maybe they have secret knowledge that we don't have also. So.
Yeah, so going into the daily challenge, it is called the Smuggle Run. It's a 5-mile run while holding a heavy capsule. I really like this because, it takes a lot of physical athletic skill that the normal person probably doesn't have. And so I like to see those challenges where you actually have to be physically strong to complete the challenge. It takes endurance and you have to run and you have to hold the thing. You do puzzles in the middle. So I really like that aspect. People were calling it a mini final. So I thought that was cool to see who works well together, who's maybe a bigger threat, who can't really hold their weight in these strong challenges, because I feel like, finals recently have been a lot of endurance. So I think this was eye-opening for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think it was interesting because there was a lot of commentary as people were finishing about oh, this is what a final would be like. But also sometime during the endurance challenge, Anissa was like, well, this isn't a final, so I'm not treating it like a final. And I do wonder how many people had that mentality of oh, it doesn't actually matter that much if I win this, just because it seems like some people were trying, but not their absolute hardest. So.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking that while watching the episode, I was sort of thinking if you're already sort of far behind and you're maybe not top 5 or 6, then wouldn't you just go slower, or you'd walk the whole thing? If you're the top 3, 4, 5 and you maybe have a chance to get there, you don't really know if someone has crossed the finish line yet, and then maybe you would keep it up in high gear. But I feel once you know that you're sort of far in the back, Anissa knew that they were in last place, why, I guess, would you keep trying 100%? So I feel to eliminate people not trying or people not trying their hardest, you sort of have to bring back the loser, the last place team goes automatically into elimination. So there is no house vote, or there is no double agent vote, and the last place team automatically goes to elimination. Then the double agents or house votes in the other team to go in, to prevent people from slacking.
I do think it's interesting though, because some of the people who were oh, this isn't a final, so I'm not going to work that hard, didn't communicate that to their partners. And so that's kind of where I feel people went wrong, because yikes, you need to tell your partner if you're planning on just being yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, light jog versus heavy jog. Apparently, after Anissa and Fessy were so far behind that they actually got a lighter capsule to carry to finish out the race, so they at least crossed the finish line. So I thought that was an interesting fact that the YouTube after show, or maybe it was on Cam and Leroy's YouTube video, they posted a 45-minute long recap of the episode. So you all should definitely check that out, because they did have some really cool insights of behind the scenes thing. And I think they said that Anissa and Fessy got a lighter capsule after they were so far behind.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I wonder, again, why was it so important that anyone crossed the finish line after Jay and Theresa won? Because it's you only have a prize for first place. And I think that kind of ties into like people's discussions afterwards, because Nam and Lolo had this whole argument about, well, we're not going to win, so why do you want to run across the finish line? So
I liked how every team finished. I was like, okay, good for everyone. They didn't like cheat. Maybe they all like got driven to the last part and then they just filmed everyone crossing the finish line to show like, oh, everyone did finish and people actually didn't do the whole 5 mile run. Because I agree, after the first place team wins, like there's no point for everyone else to cross because it's not like everyone else is getting the PC3 whatever P3 sponsorship or they're not getting the cash prize that Jay and Theresa won. So it is a little bit weird that everyone else would like try so hard and like finish right after that. But I guess it is for a lot of the competitive people, it is a way to show that, okay, we're good partners. Maybe we can run a final together. This is how I would perform in a final. And I think some teams had a good showing and other teams sort of had a crappier showing than others. Like I think a lot of people, I was sort of expecting Lolo and Nam to like be in the top 5, but they were sort of near the bottom of the pack because of their communication issues.
yeah, I was also expecting them to be in the top 5 because Lolo is an Olympian. Isn't Nam also like
Ultimate Beastmaster show?
Yeah, so isn't that like a very physical thing as well?
I think I'm not exactly sure what the show is, but from looking at it, it seems like it's like American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, and so it's like if you two are both super physical competitors, why aren't you doing better? And so, like you said, I think it was because they were not super great at communicating with each other, which is just like kind of frustrating because they should be able to do well.
Yeah, so I think, their stock is going down because of their communication problems. And I think Cam was saying this in their YouTube video that like Cam doesn't really feel bad for them because like if they hated each other so much, then Lolo could go into elimination, Nam could go into elimination, and then they would try to switch partners. But if you are just not doing anything to go into elimination to try to switch your partner, then you're just complaining about how you don't like your partner or you can't work with your partner, then people can't really have sympathy for you. And so I sort of get it on that aspect. It seems like Lolo wants to stay partners with Nam, or like they have their weird relationship thing going on. So I think that complicates their partnership because they're also having feelings for each other.
Yeah, just the whole thing seems very complicated. And they established a while ago that Lolo was interested in Nam, but I don't think that they ever specifically said whether or not they had entered into a relationship with each other, which made this whole thing just weirder.
Yeah, so, I guess, that's why you don't date your coworkers, you don't date your partnerships. Like, I don't know, if like Leroy and Cam were in a duo together, maybe they would have more problems because I feel like if you're starting, especially, I guess that's different because they're in an established relationship, but say you're starting a relationship with someone on the show and then you're partners with them, I think you're just adding too many problems into your like pairing.
Yeah, I feel like that's just too much to learn to manage all at once because like your partnership as like competitors is very different from your partnership as like people. So I don't know. I kind of felt bad for them, but also you kind of did this to yourself. So
yeah, I think, Lolo's very intense, like we saw with her fight with Theresa and then her and Nam fighting. I think it's just they have some communication problems. And also there's probably like cultural or communication, like language barrier issues between them as well. And so, yeah, maybe it's not a thing in Germany that you have to run across the finish line, but like Lolo in the Olympics, running across the finish line, the last one has to be like the best one kind of thing. Could be something like that that's causing problems also.
yeah, so it was weird because I feel like what we saw of their argument was just them yelling at each other and nothing actually getting resolved. And I was like, are you trying to make us just feel awkward? Because I personally don't like it when they show us arguing just for the sake of arguing. So, especially because, like we said, Lolo and Nam never really did anything to try and get other partners. So, yeah.
Yeah, like if you don't want to be paired with a person, if Lolo's annoyed that she thinks Nam isn't trying hard enough or whatever, go into elimination. You know, Big T got rid of Joseph that way. So, like, just throw yourself in and then try to get rid of your partner so you can switch partners or get your skull while you're at it. So, I think, yeah, Lolo and Nam, not a good showing in the challenge. Jay and Theresa, honestly, I would not have thought that they would have gotten first. So, like, really good for them. I feel like they really proved that they're a strong team, even though, you know, Jay is smaller, Theresa is smaller. So it's like, you can't just judge someone by, you know, how small or like skinny, I guess they are, because they got first place with a 5 mile run. So I felt like proud of them for showing people wrong.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting too because people were so surprised by this. And I'm like, bruh, they've been like physical competitors from the start, I feel like. So the fact that people are still shocked by the fact that Jay and Theresa are physical just kind of surprised me.
Yeah, and I think definitely Jay sort of winning this challenge and also causing drama and like showing that he's physical, I think he can be invited back for another challenge.
Yeah, and I think it's good for him that he was kind of like getting stuff to happen just because I feel like since this is his second time on the challenge, if he wanted to come back again, he would definitely need to do something to warrant that. So
Causing
good
a
on him
splash.
for, yeah, and good on him for doing that, I guess.
So second place was Ashley and Corey. They did really well as well. Third place was Cam and Kyle. Fourth place was Nani and Josh, which is pretty cool. And then fifth place was Casey and Leroy. So I feel like second through fifth place honestly seems sort of what I would expect because those are pretty strong teams.
Yeah, I feel like all of them, I was kind of like, okay, that makes sense. I think some people were surprised that like Anissa and Fessy didn't do better. So I guess I was surprised by the absence of some groups, but not surprised by who did do well, I guess.
I agree. So sixth place was Amber B and Darrell. So that is pretty cool also because as a rookie and vet team, I feel like we haven't really seen much of either of them. Seventh place was Lolo and Nam. Eighth place was Gabby and Devin. So as a new partnership, they didn't get last place. So that's pretty cool. And then ninth place is Michi and Amber M. 10th place is Big T and CT. And then last place is Anissa and Fessy.
Yeah, and I guess like I do wonder if Anissa's whole thing about like, oh, this isn't the final, so I'm not gonna treat it like the final, is kind of like her trying to make excuses for why she and Fessy didn't do as well. So that was just something I was thinking about.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like a sort of a double-edged sword because like we saw some heat between CT and Big T where CT doesn't really you know, he likes Big T and all, but he doesn't really see Big T as someone he would want to run the final with because of Big T's endurance. So I feel like Anissa, by not trying, it sort of maybe turns people off from wanting to run the final with you because if you don't try, you know, at least like this isn't for $1 million, but there still was a cash prize at the end of it. Like if you aren't trying now, even if you have your gold skull, like who's to say maybe you're not having a good day in the final and then you don't try. So I don't know if like the showing and going slow during the daily challenge maybe turns people off or maybe wants someone to go in against Anissa to like bump her out of having a gold skull so they don't have to run the final with Anissa.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because a lot of people still don't really seem to be thinking about the final as like a partnership thing. Like they aren't thinking about like, oh, we want to get rid of this person or not get rid of this person for finals partners. And I think that was kind of evidenced by like the whole situation with Ashley. But we'll get more to that later. But I do wonder like, did Anissa ever tell Fessy, like, no, I'm not really trying? Or did he kind of just think that she sucked?
I wonder if it's sort of a thing, like if Anissa was trying 100% and then they still got last place or like they got 10th or 9th place, like close to the end, that would look worse than if Anissa just said, oh, I'm not trying like at all today. I think for like your own ego, I feel like you would want to just like not try at all. So then when you get last place, you can say like, oh, attribute it to the fact that I wasn't trying, versus if you were trying 100% and then you still got last place, like that would look so bad. So maybe it's a sort of thing of like saving face. So you say you're not trying so no one can really like be mad at you or like fault you or be like, you suck because you're so slow. Then you're like, nah, I wasn't trying.
Yeah, but I do feel like that's one of those things where like I would tell my partner that from the beginning, just because then it doesn't sound like I'm just trying to save face. So
I guess something we didn't see on the episode, maybe a question will get answered sometime, but I feel like probably not. So we go into Jay and Theresa talking after the challenge. They got the double agents and they won the sponsorship and the $6,000. So like, yay. Lots of money there. So they're talking about putting a strong team in so they have a better chance of winning later. And, you know, I thought that was smart. And then Theresa is saying, okay, like I sort of want to put Ashley in, which I was like, oh, that's sort of awkward because Ashley just said that she was paranoid Pam earlier. And so I think, you know, for Theresa, it does make sense to put in like a strong girl. So then in the final, she has less strong females to compete against. For Jay, going along with this plan, I think it's good and bad, which I guess we can talk about.
yeah, I feel like one of the things that Theresa and Jay did wrong this entire episode was they just lied to people's faces the whole time. Like, Theresa told Ashley, like, oh no, you're totally fine. You're definitely not going in. And then started like lobbying to have people vote for her. And it's like, okay, Ashley's probably not going to be happy that you're trying to get people to vote her out, but she's probably going to be even more pissed because you just told her that you weren't going to do that. And I feel like that's kind of the theme for the two of them this episode, where they were just telling outright lies. So
I agree. I think that's what got them in so much hot water, like we see at the end of the episode, because like Ashley said in some confessionals, like she would do this same move, but she would tell you to your face that she was going to vote you in. So I'm thinking maybe it is smarter to be just like straight up and say, sorry, I am scared of you. I think you're a really good competitor, you know, stroke their ego a little bit. And so XYZ, because of all these reasons why you're so great, I need to throw you into elimination. I'm so sorry. Like, there's nothing I can do. I really need to do this for my game. I hope you understand. I have kids at home, you know, like I got family problems to pay for. So, like, I think maybe being straight up like that could have helped them with so many people being so mad at them later on.
yeah, because it's like they did it more than once. So
Everyone just is sort of really angry. So we go into the deliberation. Nobody wants to go in. Everyone is like sitting there straight faced, not talking. Like no one wants to go in and get their skull. Okay. Leroy says straight up he will not vote for Ashley. And I thought like, oop, that's sort of funny. Everyone was sort of being coy, not talking about like who the plan is, who does Theresa and Jay want. And I liked how Leroy just said straight up, I am not doing Theresa and Jay's plan, and I'm not voting in Ashley.
yeah, I thought that was pretty cool, but then also it kind of sparked an argument that I feel like for some people solidified Ashley more. So I wonder, like, if Leroy not saying that would have actually helped her out more, or at least like offer an alternative other than Ashley rather than just saying I won't do this. Because I feel like the thing with like all reality TV shows and then like life in general is if you don't like the plan, you have to come up with a better plan than that one. And so just being like, I'm not going to do this plan didn't really help, because then obviously, like, if a bunch of other people were like, okay, I don't want to vote Ashley either, there was no way for them to unite and then maybe actually pose a threat. Because I feel like a lot of people who didn't want to vote Ashley kind of just threw their votes away rather than like make a unified front.
Yeah, I feel like we see that in a lot of reality TV shows. Like the person on the chopping block is like, I don't want to go home, whatever, but they don't have some other backup plan. Like, okay, you want me to stay, Leroy. Okay, so let's vote like Amber M and Michi down into the elimination, because it seems like Amber M and Michi were like the backup plan this episode again. So like yeah, I agree. If you don't have someone else's name, then people can't unify behind that. I did like Ashley's standing up for herself and her argumentation. She said that everyone else should keep her, and especially the guys in the pair should want to keep her, because if the finals is paired, then you would want to be with Ashley because she has that experience and she has won a challenge before. So I did think that she had some good argumentation there when she was standing up for herself.
The thing is, I feel like what's good for the guys is bad for the girls. Because being like, oh, I won a challenge. Everyone's like, yeah, which is why we don't want you there. So.
That's true. It was more like aiming towards, okay, guys, don't vote me in because you want me to be your partner in a challenge. Maybe something better would be adding on there, like, okay, something for the girls so that the girls won't also want to vote you in, like, oh, I can help you or teach you or whatever. Maybe it was cut out and she did have that second piece of her argument. But yeah, I can see how the first part makes the girls want to vote you in, but the guys want to save you.
And I just feel like it was also, maybe this is just, I don't really like Ashley that much, but she seemed very cocky about it all. So, yeah, I guess
sort of, yeah, I don't know, sort of, I guess, cocky in a way, but different from like Tori being not humble last week. I feel like this was more like, oh, people are coming at me. I need to like puff out my chest and sort of like fight back.
Yeah, I guess that's true. So.
I guess we'll see in the next season that Ashley is on, since she's gone again. But we see the double agents go to their little house outside. I was thinking, Theresa sort of needs Ashley to go home, considering that their plan was just outed in the deliberation room. So like, you sort of need her to go home, or else she's going to come back so pissed off. And so we learned that Ashley and Corey are the compromised agents with only 9 votes out of 20. So I thought that was really wild, considering they got less than half of the votes. So like we were saying, like Ashley said at the end of the episode, why are people burning votes? Because a vote not for Ashley is technically a vote against Ashley. So we saw like people just throwing votes on random people because they didn't want to vote Ashley in. But then 9 votes is like not a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of like what we were saying, where you need to be able to present an alternate plan, because if there had been like, if you don't want to vote Ashley, vote for this person, then maybe someone else would have gone in. So I don't know, that kind of frustrated me, because it's just like, it seems like it's bad strategy.
I agree. I think it's sort of annoying that people were thinking like, oh, I like Ashley. We're both vets, so I'm not going to vote Ashley in, but I'm going to throw my votes on like some random people, because then it's like, you're just technically throwing Ashley in, and like that's what we saw with the episode. I don't know. I think if you didn't want Ashley to go in, either like vote for her because you want to be with the majority with the house, or like vote for someone else, come together and do something. I don't know. People like trying to play it safe and trying to play the middle, I just find sort of annoying. Like, choose a side, or like go with the majority, or like make your own majority and like have a plan, and don't just like try to appease everyone.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, just because it's like they don't want their hands to get dirty, which is just, why even bother playing the game if you're not going to like let your hands get dirty?
Especially because they're doing like semi-secret votes. Only the double agents know who you voted for. So it's like other past seasons, like everyone would sit in like on the couch and go one by one, and you would have to say someone's name. It's like, if you aren't willing to vote in secret for someone, like, I don't know. I felt like having secret votes this season is supposed to help people like actually make plans and like do things and do blindsides and like get people voted out. But it seems like everyone is still trying to play in the same way they would if they had to sit in a row and all vote like with everyone else hearing.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe they're just not the best at adapting to new things, because I feel like some people are still tripped up by the fact that they have to play with a partner and consider their partner's feelings. So
just low, I guess. So yeah, we see Theresa saying, okay, we maybe we see Theresa go up to Cam and ask Cam, hey Cam, if you want it, I would throw you in to get your gold skull. I thought this was smart, like we saw CT do with Lolo last week, trying to make a deal like, I will scratch your back if you scratch my back in a few weeks. But I feel like, I don't know, Theresa sort of dropped the ball on this one, considering Cam didn't want to go into the elimination and then you still throw her in.
Yeah, if you're gonna say, like, oh, I'll send you in to get your skull, that needs to be, like, you actually respect that. Because otherwise, it just seems like you wanted that person in anyway, and we're trying to make it seem like it was their choice.
Yeah, like if last week CT just threw Lolo in if Lolo didn't like give the wink or give the heads up, like, hey, I saw the challenge and I want to go in, they're going to be pissed off at you. So that's just another strike against them. So that's 2 strikes. The first against Theresa and Jay is lying to everyone's faces. We see Jay tell Corey straight up. We see Jay tell like Kyle straight up. We see Theresa tell Ashley she's not going to get voted in. And then they all go back on their words on that. Strike 1, strike 2, throwing in Cam when Cam didn't want to go in after you sort of made that deal. So we go to the crater and then just more strikes happen. So many bad things. It's not looking good for Jay and Theresa, but Ashley and Corey are compromised. Everyone has shocked faces in the little gallery where people are watching. Corey is super mad. He is calling everyone a liar, saying everyone lied straight to my face, which I feel like hopefully he wasn't just like pointing that at Jay, because other people would have lied to their face if they got voted in, and they don't know the number of votes they got voted in by. So like, hopefully Corey is mad at more people than just Jay, because other people backstabbed him. But I feel like because Jay was like the double agent, the face of this, Corey is going to be mad at Jay only next week.
Yeah, I think it's easier to be mad at one person, because then you can focus your whole vendetta energy on one person rather than being pissed at everyone. So it's like, maybe he'll be mad at Jay next week, and then the week after that, he can bring up beef with someone else. So
just sucks for Corey, you know. He lost Nelson, he lost Fessy as a friend, he lost Natalie. This week he loses Ashley and his friend in Jay. Like, he just has a bad run of things. So Theresa and Jay vote in Cam. They were maybe thinking Nany also to go in, or the Nany Josh partnership. And I feel like voting in Nany and Josh may have been smarter for Jay, at least, because I feel like voting in Cam and voting in Ashley and Corey, Cam and Kyle makes no sense, because if it was actually a guys' elimination day, Jay just voted in 2 of his guy friends. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I feel like if Jay voted in Nany and Josh, if it was a guy's day, then at least Josh would maybe go home. And we saw Josh and Jay have a little bit of beef a few episodes ago. I just feel like Jay was playing Theresa's strategy and Theresa's game, which is good in a way, because you appease your partner and like you show loyalty to your partner and you trust your partner. But I feel like voting in Ashley and Cam and then Kyle and Corey is not helpful for Jay at all.
I do think it's one of those things, though, where I think they knew that Cam could beat Ashley, but they didn't know whether or not Nany could. And like, if Ashley had lost and gotten back into the game, that would have also sucked for them. So I feel like they kind of backed themselves into a wall by making so many promises, because the more people that you make promises to, the easier it is to piss someone off.
Yeah, and I think that was their reasoning, that Theresa thought Cam, with her elimination record, could beat Ashley, versus they didn't think Nany was. So like, in that regard, it's smart, because Theresa really wanted Ashley to go home. So many bad things piled up to make one really bad thing happen.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty accurate description of it.
So I think the best part of the episode was when TJ said, men, this is like an important day for you. And then everyone was like freaking out. You know, Ashley flipped off the audience, and then TJ plays them and is like, to watch.
Yeah, I was just like, that is such like a jerk move, but also I kind of loved it. So
So good. So it turns out to be a women's elimination dead ringer challenge. Sort of like there's poles and you're attached to harnesses and you have to fly and attach poles to rings or rings to poles. And so I thought this was cool. And I thought this was a cool challenge to watch because it was Cam versus Ashley, like two very, very strong female competitors. And so I felt like this challenge was a little bit less like physical, but it was more whoever could understand and learn the challenge better and could figure out like the momentum and the strategy behind the challenge had an upper hand, which is what we saw Cam do.
Yeah, I do think there was like some physical aspect to it just because you do have to be kind of coordinated to be able to like make that work. But it wasn't like purely physical, like the more physical person will definitely win.
Yeah, not like a hall brawl. This is more like be smart, learn the strategy kind of thing, which I liked. I thought it was cool. And I feel like if you dropped any rings, you sort of lose in general or are at a disadvantage because I would want to see like how much of a time sink it is because we saw Ashley drop some rings, but then Cam already won. Because I feel like to go get the rings, do they just lower you from the harness to the ground and then like pull you back up? Or do you have to like get fully like pulled to the side, unharnessed, climb down a ladder, go get the rings, climb back up? I would be interested in seeing because I felt like if you dropped any to the ground, you sort of are at a super disadvantage.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things where it might be better for you if you like first if you take some time at the beginning to make sure that you know what's going on before you start placing rings rather than like immediately trying to get your first ring and then dropping them.
Yeah. I guess what patience is key. The turtle and the hare, right? The tortoise,
The tortoise and the hare.
yeah, wins the race. So we see Cam wins. I think she had a misspeak on the episode where she said her elimination record was 10-1, but people are saying that it's 8-2, which is still a freaking amazing like elimination record. So like it was cool to see her win and like be so confident and have another gold skull. And it was cool to see Leroy like cheering her on, and it's like it was so cute.
Yeah, it was really cute. I also liked that she was like, hopefully this makes Leroy like gives him the confidence to be able to come in and get his gold skull. And I was like, oh, power couple.
I know, so cute. So we have another Gold Skull pairing with Cam and Kyle now. So that's the second Gold Skull pair with Anissa and Fessy as the other Gold Skull pair. Really sucks for Ashley, eliminated twice in one season, but she did go against super strong competitors in Cam and Natalie. So just sucks. She was in and then she was out, and she's in and out again.
I mean, I guess it kind of proves that she isn't as good of a competitor as she thinks she is. So like she was very much cocky this whole time, like, oh, Millionaire Mitchell's gonna do it. And it's like you got eliminated in the first two eliminations that you could compete in. Because last week was a guy's elimination, so she couldn't have competed in that. But or was it a girl's elimination?
It's
I
girls.
literally
Anissa?
can't tell time anymore. Time is fake.
Yeah, because
yeah.
they did two girl ones in a row. I got confused too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess, time for Ashley to go back, hit the gym. We saw CT going against Jay last season with his dad bod, and he said that he was going to go back home and exercise some more, get fit again. So guess we will see. But I think I am a little bit nervous for Jay going into the next two male eliminations, whether like if next week is a guys week or if it's another girls week to try to even out the skulls. I think whenever Jay or guys are up for elimination again for the next 3 times maybe, I think Jay is in a little bit of hot water. But I feel like after, if it goes like guy, girl, guy, girl, guy, girl for the rest of the season, then I feel like if enough time passes, people will be less mad at him because it seems like people aren't mad at Fessy anymore after Fessy did his move to go against Nelson. So I feel like if it isn't a guys week next week and it's another girls week, then that would be better for Jay because more time can pass and people can forget about what he's done.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where they kind of just move on to the next big thing. So I'm interested to see whether or not it bites either of them in the ass because I feel like Theresa could also end up hurting because of this decision.
Sad. I feel like there was a lot of foreshadowing from Jay this week. He had numerous confessionals saying like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm making the right move. He says he feels like it's going to bite him in the ass. And I'm like, no, don't say that, Jay. Stop it. So I feel like it probably will bite Jay in the ass before it bites Theresa in the ass, because we didn't really see any confessionals from Theresa thinking like, oh, this isn't good. This is bad. I'm not sure if I should be telling the truth or whatnot. So a little bit nervous there, but we have the choice of staying or leaving partners. I personally wonder if like staying with your partner, if you have a gold skull pairing like Anissa and Fessy and like Cam and Kyle, would make you more of a target, because then you're an easy person to throw into the elimination every time, because then you could be like, okay, we're throwing in Cam and Kyle every week, so then we get rid of the skull and like we gain a skull. Like it's a net zero, versus if you throw in two people without skulls, it's a +1 for one person. And so if you keep throwing in someone with a skull already, you dwindle down the number of guys or girls you have to compete against until there's only 5 girls left, and then you automatically get your skull.
Yeah, I do wonder if that would be like a good strategy, and if it's going to happen, because I feel like it didn't really ever come up with Anissa and Fessy. Like, they were never brought up as like an alternative, but I guess we'll have to see as like time wears on.
I wonder if that's like, if you're allowed to do that as a strategy. Like we saw Jay get thrown in 3 times in a row last season for male eliminations. Can you just throw in the same pair each time? And so the net gain of skulls is 0, and then you dwindle down the numbers enough so that there's only 5 guys and 5 girls left, and then you all automatically get your skull.
I mean, that would be interesting, but I also don't know if like people would accept that strategy, because there's also the chance that like you go home, and so who knows.
Yeah, so we see, I thought it was interesting because Cam, one, she gets to pick her partner, and then we see confessionals from CT and Darrell. They all want Cam. CT is sad that he didn't pick Cam the first day when they got to pick partners. Devin also is like, maybe I'll Cam, you want to pick me kind of thing. But Cam stays with Kyle, and now Corey is the rogue agent.
Yeah, I felt bad for Corey, because like he said, he is kind of the Black Widow, so
he just can't catch a break. And I thought it was enlightening that TJ said the next female elimination will determine his partner. So does that mean it's a girls' week next week? Like next time that they go into an elimination? Because if 2 girls go in, you get rid of a girl, then that girl would pick. Does that even out the numbers? I guess I'm confused. Or would a guy's day even out the numbers?
I can't do math. So if you know the answer to that question, put it down in the comments below so that Rachel and I don't have to do math, because I graduated college. I don't need to do math anymore. So
I feel like it has to be a girls' day. I think TJ was maybe telling them next female elim, that means next episode, which then it's 3 girls' days in a row to even out the numbers. I guess it could happen.
I guess it could. But I don't think they do 3 in a row. I think it's more likely that they do a guy and then 2 girls again to even it out, and then just alternate between them.
So confusing.
Yeah, mood.
So this was our review recap of episode 6 of the challenge, season 36, episode 6. I think I said that, but I messed up the intro of the video, so I was off.
Yeah, and now we might mess up the outro. Who knows? As always, please let us know what you think in the comments down below. We love to hear from you. We are interested to see where this season of the challenge goes. And if you guys have any questions for us about the challenge, feel free to throw those down there too. And we'll see you guys next